What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review, and this time we're going to be covering The Death of Superman, the latest entry into the new 52 continuity of DC animated movies. Of course, this movie is based off the comic book arc of the same name from the 1990s, the historic, notorious, the most well-known comic book story ever put to print, not only in comic book form, but in media in general. That is, of course, The Death of Superman. Now, seeing this movie on its own, without knowing the knowledge of the books and how this is presented in the new 52 universe, The Death of Superman to me is one of the better new 52 movies. Although this is a standalone Superman movie, though the Justice League, they're peppered throughout the movie here and there, but this is solely focused on Superman himself, and for the most part, it's highly enjoyable. It's got some problems here and there, but for the most part, the movie's strongest suit is the action, and when you get to that last half of the movie, where Superman and Doomsday have their all-out brawl all over Metropolis, that's where the movie is really, really fun. The animation looks great during that fight scene itself. Superman and Doomsday just beat the holy hell out of one another, straight off the page, where we see Superman all bloodied and tattered and just wrecked. And this movie also did a good job of presenting Doomsday as a legitimate threat. When we first see Doomsday, he crashes through a space shuttle, which so happens to have Hank Henshaw in said shuttle, crashes onto Earth, goes on a killing spree. The Justice League try to stop him. Doomsday wrecks every single member of the Justice League, takes them all out with ease. He almost performs a coup de grace on Wonder Woman before Superman saves her, and that's when their brawl starts, and they just beat the holy hell out of one another. Then you have Lex Luthor thrown in there at the end to try and take the glory for himself, but Superman says, "Nah, man, that's all me. It's all me." So yeah, the last half of this movie is the best half of this movie. The first half of this movie, it's okay. It's not horrible. It's not that great, but it's okay for what it is. Like the first half of this movie, things I do like about the first half is that I like the general sense of Superman being what he is, which is the symbol of hope, the symbol that inspires. Everyone loves him. He cares about the people. The people just are enamored with Superman. We have that sense of this is what Superman is. Superman is the living embodiment of all the decency in this world that people look up to. And I like how everyone in Metropolis has an admiration for Superman himself. That I thought the movie captured very, very well. What Zack Snyder failed to do in Man of Steel, this movie did in the first 10 minutes. I don't want to talk about Man of Steel. That movie just aggravates me. Even though I do like it, its mishandling of what Superman's supposed to be is ridiculous, and I don't give a damn about Superman in the modern world. This movie proves you can do Superman in the modern world and it can still work. I diverse. Let's go back into this movie itself. This is what it's all about. The Death of Superman. As like I said, it handles Superman being that all-around guy that everyone knows, everyone loves, that admires and respects. And I like how Jerry O'Connell's performance of Superman as well. He gives a good portrayal. This movie, he gets to carry this movie on his own. He does a good job as Man of Steel. In my opinion, he does a good version of Christopher Reeve, where he has a distinct for Superman and he has a distinct for Clark. We get a lot of nods to the Christopher Reeve Superman. We also get a recreation. We also get a little tribute to a very famous line from the original Superman, where we get a nice little tribute line at the end of the movie that's direct from Superman the movie itself, which is also a nice touch. I like how the Justice League is handled in this movie. They're not in it the whole way. They're just scenes are peppered in, but but my favorite scene with the Justice League is actually this them in the halls of justice having casual conversations. They're having conversations like normal people, and it's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite scenes because we get to see them act like people. They're in a meeting. Batman says he has to attend. He can't go to a certain function because he has to attend a PTA for Damian. Flash tells the League that he's getting married to Irish, which has Superman tell Flash, "Have you told Irish that you're the Flash?" And Flash says yes. Superman says, "How can you take that risk?" And Flash says, "That's what marriage is all about. And if you love someone that much, you bring them into your world knowing that they know they accept the risk." And this is what inspires Superman to spill the beans to Lois and to tell Lois who he really is. Because if he's going to love this woman, she has to know everything. And this is what inspires him to tell her at the end of the movie, which I thought was a nice touch. But before all that, we get this scene prior where Lois and Clark get a visit from the Kents. They have this very awkward dinner scene where the Kents tell Lois more about Clark than Clark told Lois. And Lois comes to the realization that she doesn't know that much about Clark at all because he's so secretive about everything. So I thought that stuff was okay too. You could have used more scenes like that to fully flesh it out some more. I really would have liked a little bit more scenes of the Justice League themselves, just having more casual bantering with Superman, maybe giving Superman some tips and advice on how to live a normal life, mostly from the Flash, since he can relate the most since he's getting married. I think we could have gotten more scenes of Flash giving more encouragement to Superman himself, but it is what it is. Can't do nothing about it. That's that. This movie also gives us cameos from the men who will become the Supermen. We get, like I said, we get a cameo from Hank Henshaw, who's an astronaut, and his ship gets destroyed, everyone dies except for him. His body's never found. We get a cameo from John Henry Irons, who had made an appearance prior in Throne of Atlantis as a construction worker, so I like that we did a little reference to that. We see him in this movie where he's working with Cyborg's father, Victor Stone, at Star Labs, which I thought was cool as well, which is cool to itself as well. We also get a scene where Lex Luthor, voiced by Rainn Wilson, who does a very good job at voicing Lex Luthor. I was very impressed by Rainn Wilson's performance. When you see Rainn Wilson, he's a nerdy guy, but he gives Lex a good menace to him. And Rainn captures that sophisticated vanity that Lex Luthor has, and so does this movie as well. I like serious Lex, and Rainn Wilson does serious Lex, and he does it really, really good. We get a good sense of that vanity that Lex just oozes, that jealousy he oozes. And Rainn Wilson does a great job at portraying that with his voice. And Lex Luthor himself has some good scenes here and there. My favorite scene is at the end where he's just talking down to Doomsday, and I just love how when Superman saves him, he's just completely pissed off. He's like, "No!" Yeah, Rainn Wilson as Lex is an unsung hero to me in this movie. He gives a very underrated performance. I thought he was really good. Now back to what I was trying to make before I diverged a little bit. We see Lex talking to a scientist who is trying to create a genetic clone, and we get a small little glimpse of Superboy himself. Of course, when the end credits roll in this movie, we get a couple of post-credit scenes which sees the four Supermen. We see Superboy grab his cape. We see John Henry Irons creating the Superman symbol. We see the Fortress of Solitude being formed by the Eradicator himself. And at the very end, we see Cyborg Superman flying through space. So yeah. The movie hit all those points. Another big criticism of this movie is that it glossed over the whole funeral for a friend portion of the Superman story itself. It just glosses over it. I would have made the funeral scene a little longer, because I would have had every legal do like a little speech about Superman and what Superman meant to them and to the world, and through their opinion, through their own eyes. I think we really missed out on something like that, which could have gave the Superman's death much more weight and much more gravitas at the end, but we didn't get that, which is a shame, because that really would have sold, to me, that would have sold the funeral scene, and we would have really got a sense of what Superman really did mean to his colleagues themselves. But we didn't get that. So yeah, there's a whole lot more I could talk about the death of Superman, but those are just my general thoughts and feelings. Overall, I really do like this movie a lot. I think it's really fun. It's well animated. The acting is great. I think Jerry O'Connell does a superb job as Superman. Rebecca Romaine does a good job voicing Lois Lane. And everyone else in the cast, they do their part as well. The Doomsday fight is fantastic. I like how they just destroy Metropolis. We got some good dramatic moments We got it does. Like I said, it does have problems. It does, and it will affect the grade. But overall, this is a movie that if you like Superman and you appreciate this comic book arc, definitely give it a watch. And my overall grade is going to be a solid 8 out of 10. Fix the problems I mentioned, and this thing could have been near perfection. But for what it is, 8 out of 10. Okay, well, those are my thoughts on the Deaths of Superman animated movie. If you've seen this movie, let me know in the comment sections below. Do you like it? Do you hate it? I would like to know. Like this video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.